Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargava again. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. As per the newspaper reports, the Enforcement Directorate is on a hot pursuit, probing multiple charges of money laundering and related offences in the Chanda Kochhar affair. The investigation being conducted by the ED also covers investigating the affairs of her husband Deepak Kochhar and now also those of her brother-in-law Rajiv Kochhar and their various entities in India and abroad, including, as is alleged, in tax havens. A news item says that the three of them have been summoned by the ED to personally appear before the ED next week, together with a whole lot of data and documents. Chanda Kochhar has been directed to appear before the ED together with information about all the movable and immovable assets which have been acquired by her, with explanation regarding the sources of money that was used to acquire these assets. She has also been asked to furnish all her income tax returns together with the submissions that were made by her before the Reserve Bank of India and SEBI in the inquiries being conducted against her by them. Deepak Kochhar and his brother Rajiv Kochhar have been directed to furnish financial statements and records of all their entities in India and abroad together with their income tax returns. And the reason is that those alleged kickbacks which were given in consideration of loan sanction to Chanda Kochhar were not received by her. They were routed through her husband's companies as is alleged, and those had the support of her brother-in-law also, as per the charges that have now come to surface. This probe of the ED is in relation to overall charges of corruption, money laundering, tax evasion, round-tripping and laundering of funds through the Hawala route by these entities and these individuals. These are the charges being probed by the ED. Looking to the seriousness of the matter and looking to the fact that this is a case of misdemeanor and misconduct by the highest official of a very large bank, according to us, the probe needs to be made swifter and more stringent. These are very influential and powerful persons being investigated, and if they wish, there is every chance that the evidence can be tampered and witnesses can be influenced. And in order to prevent that, the probe needs to be speeded up by all the agencies, which includes the ED, CBI, Enforcement Directorate and the Income Tax Department. We need to look at the way Japan is conducting the probe against Carlos Ghosn, the celebrated CEO of Nissan. He is back in a Tokyo jail facing numerous charges. Such cases need to be investigated with this kind of a stringency and a sense of urgency, which we think is missing in this case. Apart from investigating charges like money laundering, etc., there are larger questions that come in this case. And the reason is that the cases of receiving of kickbacks, etc., by Chanda Kochhar or by Deepak Kochhar on her behalf are not isolated cases. It continued in many cases during her tenure as the facts are emerging. She managed to manipulate and game the system for a very long time, and she did not do it alone. She was not alone in it. And that raises very serious questions that need to be answered in case we really want to cure the system of its ills. And what are the ills? The ills have to do with one person with collusion of many managing to manipulate the system, and that too with serious charges of corruption to boot. So what are the larger issues, or what are the other questions apart from the probe on money laundering that need to be answered in this investigation by various agencies? According to us, there are many of them. The first is, while Chanda Kochhar had a decade-long tenure at ICICI Bank, almost a decade-long tenure, is it that this is the first time that whistleblower charges have surfaced against her, or did they even come during her tenure and they were put down? After all, she was a powerful CEO. So the first question is, why are whistleblower charges, and many of them, are surfacing only now with serious charges being levied against her? Did they not surface during her tenure, and if they did, how did she manage to put them down? The second one is that these kind of misdemeanors and malpractices, which are not isolated cases, take place with the collusion of many. And in her case, the collusion was of the auditors as well as the independent directors in particular, along with the top executives in ICICI Bank who were in the know of things. The question that needs to be answered according to us is, what was the incentive for these individuals collectively to let her violate rules and regulations and benefit out of such violation? That's a question that needs to be answered. Our next question is, RBI gave her a clean chit in 2016 and now she has been under a probe by RBI and SEBI. Why were the regulators so late in investigating the charges against her when they are already surfaced in 2016 is something which is very pertinent to understand how such powerful individuals perpetrated their reign in the organizations that they headed. Just as the RBI was late in taking up matters and so has been SEBI, our question is, why was the Income Tax Department slow in investigating charges of tax evasion by Deepak Kochhar's companies? They were receiving a lot of money from Videocon, SR Group and maybe others. Why were the charges not probed at that point of time when they were received many years ago? It would have been far more effective to do so at that point of time. So, why did the Income Tax Department also delay its investigation of those companies where these alleged kickbacks have been received in the Chanda Kochhar case? Our next question is, ICICI Bank and the shareholders of ICICI Bank have suffered immensely because of this misconduct of Chanda Kochhar. Will somebody really compensate them for the losses that they have suffered? Is our next question. And our thereafter question that comes is, whistleblowers are surfacing. Is ICICI Bank really cooperating fully with them in order to unearth the truth? Because if it does, we are sure all the charges that are being probed will probably prove to be true with all these kind of information, incriminating information that has been coming around. Our final question is, who was the godfather or godfathers to Chanda Kochhar? This kind of a free run to a CEO who was gaming the system, manipulating it for years together, could not have happened without the shelter and protection of some far more powerful people. We need to understand who are they, because if that is not understood and exposed, you can be sure that these very godfathers will create another such Chanda Kochhar to game a system, to manipulate a system and undermine an entire organization. We need to understand that, and that is the question that needs to be answered. Unfortunately, while we are saying this, the chances are very bright that the answer to this question, who was the godfather, might probably never be given by the system. Why are these questions important? Or why are the answers to these questions important? Almost every senior CEO who managed to undermine a system, who managed to take advantage of a system, whether it was a Chanda Kochhar or a Ravi Parsasarthi or a Hari Shankaran, they all game the system in such a manner. And it is important to get these answers to prevent any such kind of corporate misconducts, malpractices and misdemeanor by the highest officers of these bodies in times to come. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
HW News Network today is a year and a half old. Thanks to your support, thanks to your love, we've grown. We require your support a little more. What we request you to do is to download our free app. Our app is in Hindi, English and Marathi. We promise to update you with the latest news, views, analysis, interview. We also have a live TV going in that. If you download our app, we will get advertisers. And if we get advertisers, we'll get revenue. We get revenue, we can serve you better. So once again, please do support us. Please download our app. Namaskar.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, Well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.